So just a few years ago, Kdenlive, which is KDE's video editing program, launched a fundraiser. It wasn't just any fundraiser, but rather one where they explained in detail exactly why they needed the money and what they were going to do with them. And very quickly, they promised to bring nested timelines, better effect workflow, performance boosts, and much more. The community clearly reacted well to this announcement, and the project has managed to achieve their goal of 15,000 euros. They had also set some stretch goals for 20k and 25k targets, and in total they managed to raise 23,000 euros from 677 donations. Of those, around $1,000 had to go to platform and processing fees, whereas 20% was given to the KDE EV to cover infrastructure. And well, this leaves around 17,000 euros just for Kdenlive. So when trusting a project with such a large-ish sum of donations, it's fair to expect that project to have some level of transparency over what's happening with the money and, where the money is being spent. Indeed, we've seen frequent blog posts about the latest developments, spring recaps, and even in-depth articles on certain bug fixes from the website of the developers themselves. Now, the Kdenlive project is sharing its final fundraising report, covering everything that was done purely thanks to that donation boost. I would really love to tell you about it, since it's a great example on how we can effectively monetize a free and open source project with the ultimate goal of making it grow over time. So firstly, timeline nesting. In the documentation of Kdenlive, they're actually called sequences. They are timelines that can be rendered independently, but they're all part of the same project and they share the same settings. Sequences act like clips too. You can open a sequence and play it in the clip monitor, or drag and drop it into a different sequence. This way, if you edit sequence 2 in its own timeline and rendering it independently, those changes will also update live in sequence 1 as well. You can create a new sequence from the menu, and once you do that, a tabbed view will appear just above the timeline, and this will also unveil a new button to create even more timeline sequences in an easy way. There are various goodies here and there. As an example, if you double click a sequence clip in a specific point, Kdenlive will display the timeline of that sequence exactly in the point that you've double clicked. And you can even duplicate them, just like that. Even better, you can have some sort of reusable sequence where you copy paste just that sequence between projects instead of having to each time copy all the elements that you want to reuse. You could also create multiple versions of the same video by editing one time and then duplicating that one time, that sequence, and working on the duplicated one. Then you can independently render each and see what's better. Previously, this was only possible by creating multiple Kdenlive projects for each variation, which was not good. Kdenlive developers do admit that this feature was a bit rushed on release and it caused annoying instabilities that are now solved. They recommend to only use it from the just released 24.12.2 version. Next up, we have some various goodies in effects management, just like promised during the fundraiser. We can now edit multiple effects at the same time. If you add an effect to a group of clips, you will see the amount of clips that it affects, and you will be able to edit the parameters for all clips at the same time. We also now have various different easing modes. If you've ever tried to do some basic animations in Kdenlive, you know that it only used to support discrete, linear, and smooth easing curves, none of which was particularly pleasing to the eye in my opinion. We can now select a whole lot of them, which is cubic, exponential, circular, elastic, and bounce, all of which are available both in and out versions. I just love to see that. The transform effect now has a monitor grid that can help you enable, disable them, and if you do have it on, then the clip will automatically snap to it. This allows to very quickly align different clips down to the pixel. On top of that, if you want to move a clip around, you used to have to select it from the timeline first, and only then you could drag and drop it in the monitor overlay. Now you can just click the clip that you want to move in the monitor and the handles will just appear. The interface itself was redesigned with, and I quote, clearer organization of keyframes and non-keyframeable parameters, improved layout consistency, more compact and clean. Each effect also now has an help button that will open the documentation regarding that effect specifically. This is a small change, but I love to see it. That was all for effects. However, there are still a few goodies here and there before I start talking a bit more the fundraising itself. Firstly, performance boost. The spacer tool is now pretty much instantaneous. I can confirm that this option was previously quite slow. Audio and video rendering is slightly faster, though no numbers there. Better hardware encoder support, and optimized some parts of the timeline QML code to handle out-of-view items. On top of that, there's been a complete rework of how audio waveforms work. The new system is 3 times faster, which is amazing, and much more reliable. The resulting waveform is also much more accurate. The reference that you see comes from Audacity, which is a bit of a reference implementation in this kind of things. The improvement of the new visualization is pretty clear, and this does help editing a lot. I often find myself looking for a specific bump in waveforms to know where to cut a clip. The new waveform generation was merged for the next major release of Kdenlive, which is 25.04. If you're also willing to stick with this project until later this year, when the 25.0 out version will be out, then you will also get the Open Timeline I/O integration that Darby Johnston is working on. This allows importing and exporting of project files that this open standards support. He has managed to already implement export-import of timeline with multiple tracks and clips and support for markers and guides. We're now just waiting for support for transitions. The team is also working on improving their QA efforts. They have implemented a way to automatically check for rendering regressions, and now this should run automatically to make sure that each release is, and I quote, more stable. So yay. Finally, the Kdenlive project gives us a roadmap of features that they plan to support soon. On the short term, they want to implement a graph editor for easing modes, which will be part of the Summer of Code initiative. And then there's advanced streaming tools, keyframe parameters, markers with a time span, link sequences from multiple projects filed together, and all of these sound like great features to have. Glancing very quickly at the further future, we see the above mentioned Open Timeline I/O integration, but also AI effect integration, 10-12-bit color support, project templates, remote collaboration editing, which by the way I would love. I share Kdenlive files over Nextcloud to have a similar experience. And one day, hopefully, we'll also get raw footage support, Open Color I/O, OpenFX, a Python API, node-based compositing and effects, and so on. These last features understandably would take a lot of time and effort. We now get to the you part of the video. Sure, Kdenlive Fundraiser concluded 2 years ago, but you can still donate to the Kdenlive project, and your money will be used to continue these efforts. In my humble opinion, Kdenlive already is the best open source video editing software, and with your help we can push it to be a viable option for more and more commercial contexts as well. Now, if you're not that interested into video editors, did you just watch me talk about them for like 10 minutes? And you don't care about them, but still, even if the whole KDE organization is currently looking for donations to keep all the projects running and growing. As one way to try to raise more donations, the team has launched a very noteworthy campaign that just last December. They have decided to simply ask for donations in a Plasma notification exactly once a year. And they have decided to simply ask for donations in a Plasma notification exactly once a year. And if you press no thanks, the notification will never appear again, ever. We thought this was pretty reasonable to ask money for a project that you're enjoying, hopefully, and it actually worked out incredibly well. If we only go look at the donations for the year 2024, you can see that this simple notification has increased donations from an average of 5,000 euros a month to 110,000 euros, I did say it, in just December. And these are just PayPal donations. Even more money was donated through other means, such as Donorbox. The KDE EV does have contractors working on improving KDE code, and the end of the year donation boost is a great help to make sure that we are able to both pay all of them and still offer to cover travel expenses to developers when attending sprints and conferences. And finally, this time for real, I also want to mention that this whole YouTube channel pretty much runs on donations. Yes, there's a small cut of YouTube advertisement, but I would prefer to turn off ads entirely if I could, and most of the money is from donations. Currently, I'm even on a net negative. I'm losing money out of all of this. There's a bit of money going towards servers and infrastructure, a bunch of equipment. Mostly this is not one man job, and even if I automated editing away, there's another person, Luca, who writes amazing scripts for videos, and I kinda have to pay him. Kinda. So your help is also welcome to make all of this possible. The platform that takes the smallest cut of your donation is the website that I made for this, Libra News. Links in the video description. But there's also Ko-Fi, LibraPay, being really good, and I've also got Patreon and PayPal, so you have a lot of options. Those do take a cut. So that was all, folks, and thank you so much for watching this video, and see you tomorrow with a new one.